Hello, guess who's back? Oh god, not again. Hey, what do you mean? That your challenges are terrible. We've had such a good run lately. Well, fine, kinda good. Maybe this one will be good too? You never know with Oikawa-san. Thank you, Yahaba. I knew I can count on you. I'm not participating if it's something nasty though. Same. Oh hey, I'm finally meeting Oikawa in here. I'm excited. But my rules from before still stand. Duly noted. I'm not sure I can be part of this, or if I want to be. How are you both doing? It's better now. We talked a lot. That's good. Talking things out is important. Yeah. Car accidents are nasty. Or both in relationship. I hope you'll be alright, both of you. Thank you. Okay, well, I'm ready to hear the challenge, but I can't do anything physical. Same. Same. I can't do anything that requires to go outside for long. I know. Kawa always knows everything, did you forget? Thanks, Sum. Nice to see you here again. Jeez, these two on one challenge again. Do I hear challenge? Sorry, I'm running some errands now, but I'm all ears. Noya! Ryu! It's fine, we haven't started yet. Okay, good. So, what's this thing about? Glad you're asking. I hope I'm not going to regret this. No worries. It's very simple and very sweet. So your task is going to be to say, I want to have a baby or similar to your partner and see their reaction. That's not so bad. Unless your partner isn't really into the idea. Then it gets awkward real quick. Did Shirabu say something? Sort of. Oof. It's fine. I can still do it if I find a good time. Maybe he changed his mind. You would want a child? One day. Yeah. Aw, I can already see that little one playing a little piano along with you. A tiny musician after they're dead. Don't get ahead of yourself. I mean, I wouldn't be against having a kid or two running around in our home either. I'm kinda curious what Chica going to say. Same. I think Asahi wouldn't be against it either. I think I'll just call some sort of wrath on me if I say that to Mori. But hey, you only live once. You sure you should be saying that in their situation? I think Ken will choke on air if I tell him that. Nah, I'm pretty sure he's secretly waiting for you to suggest kids. Little tennis balls. You know that's not his natural hair color, right? But he would definitely color their hair too. Okay, enough chit-chatting. It's a simple thing. You can do it anytime and anywhere. Is everyone in? I guess so. No one protested. Hopefully it's not going to go badly somehow. It'll be fine. Fingers crossed. Great! Don't forget to share the reactions here too. Jeez, Aikawa-san and his ideas. I wonder if he's going through some parenting crisis. What are you thinking about so hard? Kyouhaba flinched and glanced up, his brain taking a bit to catch up on where he was. Kyotane raised his eyebrow at him, apparently waiting until Kyouhaba fully snapped back into reality. Take your time, no rush. Did I space out? What do you think? Kyouhaba sighed, rubbing his eyes to get rid of the slight burning in them from staring without blinking for too long. It was a stupid question, of course. Kyotane wouldn't ask him if he didn't. And to think Kyotane asked him for help with some paperwork around the catering and venue, and he was now spacing out on him. He would gladly get swallowed by the floor. Sorry, It's nothing important, don't worry. We can continue. I'll be paying attention, I promise. Tilting his head, Kyotane reached for his hand and took the pen out of his fingers, a soft hum rumbling in his throat as he gently ran his thumb over Yahaba's knuckles. It's not about that. I just know that your head is heavy when you start staring into nothing. What is it? You know you can tell me, right? No matter how stupid you think it is. Unable to hold back the smile curling his lips, Kyouhaba entwined their fingers together and relaxed, the touch of Kyotane's calloused hand on his sending pleasant tingling through his skin. He should have known Kyotane would say something like that. He always did, never making fun of Kyouhaba's thought processes. I was just wondering, what would you say if I told you I want to have a baby? Kyotane blinked rapidly a few times, as if he had trouble comprehending the question. Like, with me? Well, duh. Who else? But, you know that's kinda impossible, right? I mean, naturally. Kyouhaba clenched his jaw and looked away, a bad feeling sinking his heart like a cold stone. He didn't fully realize it before, but now that he said it out loud, the thought of them expanding their little family sounded nice. Imagining a child they would call theirs running around their house, playing with Bruno and Kyotane, and perhaps one day learning volleyball too. It made him feel warm inside. Kyotane had always been amazing with kids, and Kyouhaba was convinced he would be a great father too. But maybe his head was too far up in the clouds. I guess it was just a thought anyway. He moved to pull away, but Kyotane stopped him, his grip on his hand tightening. Wait, please. I'm sorry that came out wrong. I know there are other ways, and it's not like I don't want to have kids with you. I've always wanted a big family. It just surprised me you brought it up. Kyouhaba sighed, settling back on the chair. You thought I didn't want to have kids? Well, you never said anything before. A soft smile tucked in the corner of Kyotane's lips. But if you are serious about it, we can figure something out now that it's on the table. Kyouhaba paused. Was he hearing right? Just a moment ago, he was on the brink of panic, thinking Kyotane was going to shoot down his question and the image behind it. And now... Do you mean it? You would... The smile on Kyotane's lips only widened as he brought Kyouhaba's hand to his lips before tugging on it to lead him on his lap. Kyouhaba felt his cheeks heating up, but still straddled Kyotane's thighs, shivering slightly when Kyotane wrapped his arms around his waist. I would never lead you on with something like this. Besides, it seems like we have the same opinion on this, no? He leaned in to bring their lips together shortly, nuzzling their noses right after. As long as we are both on board, we can always figure something out. Let's finish with the wedding, and then we will see what next. What do you think? Kyouhaba bit his lip, suddenly too overwhelmed to say anything except for a quiet yes. He then hid his face in the crook of Kyotane's neck, feeling his heart beating faster with excitement. Perhaps the challenge wasn't such a bad idea. The thought of having children was a bug constantly present on Semi's mind ever since Reon brought along his little daughter to one of their meetings about a year ago. Seeing the adorable little bundle of energy waddling around and the slightly exhausted but still so blissful smile on Reon's face broke something inside of him and unlocked thoughts he never thought he would have. Not this strong, at least. He had always wanted to have a family one day, ever since high school. He just never brought it up with Shirabu, knowing his boyfriend wanted to focus on his career first. Of course, he was aware that due to their busy work schedules, it would be difficult to raise a child. But as much as he would hate to give up on his music career, being a stay-at-home dad didn't sound so bad either. They could always do gigs just around Japan. But of course, he wasn't the only one having saying in that. Eita, dinner's ready. Sighing, Semi put aside his guitar and the note sheets he was working on and headed to the kitchen. The nice smell of cooked food hit his nose almost instantly, making his mouth water. He had no idea what Shirabu was cooking, only that he found some new recipe he wanted to try. He didn't even allow Semi to help out, saying it was going to be a surprise. Still don't need help with anything? Nope, just get the plates, would you? Semi had to smile. Since the last challenge he did, Shirabu was always fussing over him when he was at home. He was also much more careful with his temper after difficult days, which Semi never forgot to appreciate. Unable to help himself, he wrapped his arms around Shirabu's waist from behind, laying his forehead against his shoulder. "Smells great." Shirabu paused briefly, but then leaned back on his chest, covering one of Semi's hands with his. "Does it? I'm glad. It went surprisingly well for a first try." "Of course it did. Your cooking is great." "Not as great as yours." Smiling, Semi swallowed the lump forming in his throat with Shirabu's words. It probably wouldn't be much to others, but to hear Shirabu complimenting him out loud brought him the same feeling of euphoria he had always when he was on the stage. Shirabu had to notice, and turned around in his arms, taking Semi's face in his palms. "You know I love you, right? And that I love your cooking, your music, your singing, everything you do." Semi blinked in surprise. "I know, but why are you telling me now?" "Because you are surprised. I'm just making sure you know it." He gave Semi a short kiss before snuggling closer to him. "I know I don't say it often enough, but I really think that." Semi let out a shattered breath, too overwhelmed to speak for a moment. He held Shirabu in his arms for a while, just to enjoy the closeness before going along with the challenge. "Maybe better before he starts eating. Genji, have you ever thought about us having a baby?" Shirabu froze, and Semi's stomach dropped. "A baby? Like, to have a child?" "Yeah? I don't mean now, but maybe later? In the future, you know?" The heavy sigh Shirabu let out as he pulled away made Semi's chest constrict. He didn't expect Shirabu to start jumping with joy, but the silence was too heavy for his liking. "Eita, that's a big decision, and I'm not sure if our life is suitable for having children around." This time, it was Semi who sighed despite his best efforts to suppress it. He forced a smile and squeezed Shirabu's sides before stepping back, dull ache spreading through his heart. "Yeah, I guess you are right. Well, I'll go get the plate." He stopped when Shirabu caught his hand. "Wait, I'm sorry, Eita. Really, I just can't see myself becoming a parent. But we can talk about it, if it's important to you." No, it's fine." His cheeks slowly started to hurt from the force he had to spend to keep up the smile. "It was just a thought, not much more behind it. Let's eat, shall we? You worked hard on it. It would be pity if it went to waste." He quickly turned away, unable to keep smiling anymore. He understood what Shirabu meant. Of course he did. He didn't expect more anyway, and he wasn't going to pressure Shirabu into something so important just from his own selfish desires. But hearing it out loud stung like all hell. The dinner went on in complete silence after that. Having to go back to Poland, Ushijima was aware he would have to do the challenge over the call once again. It was a shame. He kinda wished he could see Tendo's reaction face to face. Even if Tendo's reaction would be what he expected, he would still much rather be in Paris by his fiancée's side. He kept thinking about the challenge the whole morning. Due to their childhood memories, they never talked about the possibility of bringing a child into their family. It was an unsaid agreement from both sides. But even agreements like this could change. And now that the challenge brought it up, Ushijima found out that maybe, just maybe, they could have the family talk for real. He was just slightly worried of the fact he could bring up bad memories to Tendo. That was the last thing he wanted, especially during a talk about their future life. We will see, I suppose. He didn't have to wait for long before his phone rang with the usual tone that always brought smile to his face. Eagle One, listening. Tendo snorted, the sound of his heartfelt laughter making Ushishima's heart flutter. You know I said it as a joke, right? You don't have to use code names with me. It made you laugh. It was worth it. Aw, Toshi. You're so sweet, you know that? Ushijima tilted his head when the camera shook as Tendo adjusted something on his back. Are you in a rush somewhere? Huh? Oh, no. I'm just on the way to the shop. I'm adding some last touches to the front and that little seating area. I'll show you when I get there. Honestly, I have to pat myself on the back. I did a solid piece of work this week. Ushijima smiled. I have no doubts about that. I'm proud of you. A light pink tint spread over Tendo's cheeks. I'm happy you are. Really. You have no idea how much that means to me. Ushijima knew. He knew how important it was for his beloved to hear those words and tried to say it as much as possible. He was trying to overpower the dark shadow always looming at the back of Tendo's mind. And while he wasn't always successful, seeing the grateful look in Tendo's eyes let him know he was doing the right thing. He just hoped he wasn't going to ruin the good mood with his question. Can I ask you something? Though it's kind of private, so if you don't want to be on the street for that. Oh, don't worry, I'm already like 5 steps from the door. Give me a sec. Ushijima waited for a bit before Tendo managed to fish out his keys and unlock the door with one hand, his mind racing to figure out how to best put his thoughts into words. Okay, what did you want to ask? And private? Don't tell me it's something spicy. He wiggled his eyebrows into the camera, and Ushijima rolled his eyes in a loving exasperation. No, not like that. Shame. But okay, I'm all ears. Would you be interested in having a baby with me? They both paused. Unsure why he went with the most blunt version, Ushijima cringed inwardly as he watched Tendo's face redden even more and his lips parting in surprise. Are you asking what I think you are? I didn't hear wrong, did I? No, it came out a bit wrong, but for the most part, yes. I'm asking if you want us to raise a child. He waited for a few tense moments while Tendo seemed to think about his answer, hoping he didn't just mess up big time. After all, they didn't talk about the possibility of having kids for a reason, and this was a silly way to start the talk. But since the thing was on the table now, they could as well talk. Well, I mean, do you want to? You never said anything, and now suddenly... Did something change? I just started to think a bit, that's all. I know the distance would make it a bit difficult, but I think I would like the prospect of having a child. But I'll understand if you don't want to, that's okay. It's not like that. Trust me, only a few things would make me as happy as seeing you play volleyball with our little one. I know you would be a great dad. But I don't know if I would be. And I wouldn't want our child to listen to others saying their father is a freak. A silent rage bubbled inside Ushijima's chest, aimed at every single person that ever called Tendo a freak or monster or some other disgusting word. In that case, it would be from envy, because neither of them would have such a talented, successful and loving dad. He panicked when he noticed Tendo's eyes glossing over. But before he could berate himself, Tendo chuckled softly, giving him a tender smile. That's so you, Toshi. Always seeing the best even in the worst. But, alright then. What do you say we talk about this more when we see each other face to face again? A large boulder fell from Ushijima's heart. Alright, let's do that. If he was being honest, Noya never even thought about having kids. He loved all of his nieces and nephews dearly, and never missed the occasion to visit to see them and play with them, but having kids on his own? The thought never really crossed his mind. Perhaps it was because of his slightly nomadic way of life, or because adoption took so hard to settle and he had no idea who he would even ask to consider being a surrogate for them. But now that the thought was planted into his mind, He realized he didn't even know Asahi's opinion. Surprisingly enough, his nieces and nephews loved Asahi from the very first moment they met him. Thanks to his gentle nature, Asahi was able to capture the hearts of Noya's whole family without exception, even the old grumpy cat his oldest sister had. His other sister didn't even give him her shovel talk when Noya introduced him as his boyfriend, noting that Asahi was the one in danger in the relationship, not the other way around. But of course, that didn't mean he wanted kids of his own either. Guess I'll just ask. Now's as good time as ever. He closed the book in front of him with a quiet clap, the sound enough to catch Asahi's attention. Everything okay? Grinning widely, Noya draped himself over Asahi's shoulders, wrapping his arms around him like an octopus. The gesture earned him a knee-weakening smile, and Noya was suddenly really glad they were sitting down. They agreed to work alongside each other that day, which was only playing into Noya's hand. Yep, all's good. I can finish the rest tomorrow. I just felt like hugging you. Who am I to say no to that? Correct answer. How much do you have left? Asahi nodded towards a little pile of papers with unfinished designs he had been working on for the past few days. It got significantly smaller, which Noya was always happy to see. Not much. I think I'll send these today and I'll leave the rest for the next week. Good. I'll kick their asses if they overwork you again. A soft chuckle rumbled through Asahi's chest, making Noya feel all kinds of things. But first, he had a challenge to do. He pressed a short kiss to Asahi's cheek and settled more comfortably against his side, playing with his hair. On a more serious note, what would you say about having a baby? Asahi coughed, apparently choking on air. Noya gave his back a few solid smacks to prevent him from choking completely, torn between amusement and worry. Careful now, or I'll lose the second father even before any child comes into picture. A hitched wheeze escaped Asahi's mouth as he slowly got himself under control, his face red as a ripe tomato when he turned to face Noya. A baby? How did you... I wasn't expecting that. Where did it come from? How... You've never said anything about... Shh. Breathe, okay? Take a deep breath. Asahi did as he was told, finally regaining some stability. Sorry, It surprised me. I can tell. But... Are you serious about it? Having a baby? Noya shrugged lightly. I was just thinking that we never really talked about it. I don't even know if we want kids. A slight tension he couldn't pinpoint the source of settled in his guts. It wasn't like he expected them to get up and file adoption papers that very moment. But the more he thought about the possibility, the more he wondered how he was going to deal with a negative answer. I guess I wouldn't mind having kids. It's a lot of work, for sure, but it must be so heartwarming to see your little one running around, right? But isn't it a bit early? We are still in our mid-20s and you are traveling the world. Maybe when we settle. A smile back on his face, Noya snuggled closer to Asahi's side, the inner tension successfully banished. I didn't mean now anyway, but I wanted to know your opinion. There's enough time. But I'm glad we are on the same boat with this, you know? It'll make things easier in the future. Asahi chuckled, leaving a soft kiss on Noya's forehead. I can't wait.